When Halo Infinite was first announced, there was the impression that 343 was keeping a secret. Not something they were teasing us with and eager to reveal, but something they were dreading to show. I welcomed the art style and instrumentation featured in the trailer, but the use of the piano leitmotif from Halo 3 was concerning, along with Master Chief's armor from Halo 4 and 5 being seemingly retconned out of existence. It's as if 343 wasn't confident in this game, and resorted to cheap nostalgia channeling tricks. A whole 2 years later, we finally saw the game in action, and it became clear why the initial announcement was devised the way it was. Let's quickly get the graphics out of the way, cause it's a point that's been beaten to death. The gameplay reveal had absolutely unacceptable graphics and looked nothing like what we'd seen in the previous trailers, even in the art direction. The visual design was of the same extraction as Halo 5, of which I've repeatedly compared to Wind Waker. Curiously, the fanboys were damage controlling this cartoony art style by saying it's based on Bungie's Halos, as a response to backlash over Halo 4 and 5's photorealism? Bruh. This shit is why I call 343 fans Halo course deniers. Geometrically, there were also some very strange objects, such as this phantom, several of the weapons, which surely have to be placeholders, and whatever these are meant to be. Admittedly, recent screenshots of the game show a tremendous boost in visual quality over the gameplay reveal, but the textures and bump mapping still need to be a bit more high contrast. On the topic of the music though, the music is really good. I'm not complaining in this area at all. The first impression of gameplay left a sour taste by immediately kicking the demo off with the greatest cock tease in Halo history.
Walk! Walk, please! Oh, he's walking! Please keep walking! Please!
Over time though, I eventually found a great respect for how well 343 trolled us here. Truly a comic masterpiece. Still, I don't think Sprint works in Halo's sandbox. The point has been made far too many times to count, even on this channel, so I don't really want to go on a tangent here. In short, Halo's high time to kill makes fleeing from battle an absolutely riskless decision ever since the introduction of Sprint. Similarly, sprinting towards your prey with an energy sword is also a riskless decision, cause you can cover distance faster than they can shoot at you. Furthermore, it just doesn't make sense that a cyborg super soldier 500 years from now is somehow unable to shoot a gun whilst moving at their top speed. Though thruster packs are gone, clamber is back and it doesn't get enough criticism. Clamber is worse than sprint and thruster packs combined. Clamber makes sense in a game like Call of Duty where you don't jump 7 feet into the air. Call of Duty isn't a game about vertical movement. You are usually climbing over something for the purposes of moving forwards. It is a horizontal obstacle disguised as a vertical obstacle. Halo, however, controversial opinion, borders on being a platformer. The whole point and beauty of Halo's moonjumping is that you can scale vertically without sacrificing your ability to shoot, punch, or throw a grenade. Hell, you can even do it while facing the opposite direction. The only thing Clamber has done is it has killed Halo's charming vertical movement and replaced it with a cutscene that leaves the player vulnerable. It's not really good game design if you ask me. However, I actually think the grappling hook is kinda cool. In multiplayer, I imagine it being implemented the same way the jetpack was in competitive Reach, as a power-up found on the map that the player or team has to secure. But it should not be spawn equipment in matchmaking. Please no, that would just ruin the game. What I would really like for the grappling hook is multiple firing modes, one for pulling objects towards the player, and another for pulling players towards an object. Sure, it defies center of mass, but it would be really nice for gameplay. One multiplayer encounter I envisaged is a player with the grappling hook on the high ground, with the enemy team below him shooting at him. Outnumbered, he's unlikely to win a shootout, so what he could do is pull one of the enemies towards him, and maybe if he's lucky, he'll draw friendly fire onto this enemy player. I don't know, it probably needs a bit more work to be balanced, but I think it's something worth thinking about. There's an elephant in the room in that the campaign seems to be open world. There's an upgrades tab in the menu which lends itself to some of the rumors that it's open world in the Metroidvania sense, which basically means that it's technically linear in that the open world opens up to you as you gradually gain the means to explore it further. If it is an open world game, I would like it to follow this approach since the experience is more directed, so it's easier to tell a story. A concern I do have about the game though is the visual diversity, because most open world games only take place in a single locale, and while the 2018 trailer did show us several different biomes, E3 this year showed us that this trailer isn't a reliable source anymore. I'm sure most of 343 is balding from stress at this point. I'm not even trying to be funny, like it's seriously a disaster how the studio is run. People who have worked at 343 tell many things in common with their stories. The software they use is a joke and just bogs down development. Even the senior programmers don't know how to work this shit because the people who made the technology left the company ages ago and left behind no documentation. Even though this creates an enormous barrier to outsourcing, 343's labor pool is largely contractors. These poor contractors, they're in for a few weeks, get told how to use this dogshit software by employees who themselves don't know how to use it, mess around trying to produce something, anything, and then leave their messy and unmotivated mark on a Frankenstein project they won't even see to its completion. They'll be gone in a few weeks, so why give a shit, really? The contractors are paid by the hour, so if they royally mess up and produce something like the helmets from Halo 5, then, well, the customer suffers, because 343 has already received their labor. They're not interested in paying them further hours. In general, very few people at 343 even give a shit. No wonder there's no soul in these games. The result is a company culture where respect and honesty are not values, and so there is absolutely no accountability nor any attempt to improve the workplace. Despite how poorly received their games are, despite how horrendous their work environment is, the senior management at the studio refused to resign because they are just sociopaths who have very carefully swept the studio shitstorm under the rug. This way they can continue to talk at panels about, "We're here to tell stories, we really want to tell a story, it's about building stories," and inflating their ego cause Halo is on their resume. Given that 343 is an absolute corporate disaster, it's no surprise that practically every top staff member on Halo Infinite has left. They get a new project director like Australia gets new prime ministers. It's ridiculous. Out of desperation, it seems, they've hired the writer of the original 2 Halo games, Joe Staten, to take over the project. Maybe he has the prestige to put the company culture in its place and get things done. There is a lot to polish though, such as this cringeworthy Brute cutscene. Having seen firsthand the nightmares of developing Halo 2 and Destiny, Staten might not want to put his team through that. He might instead push for the game to be delayed into 2022. I certainly think it'll happen. I was cautiously optimistic about Halo Infinite when it was announced in 2018, but now with the catastrophic development hell, company politics, the embarrassing E3 showing this year, and awful decisions like locking color customization behind microtransactions, I am a lot more pessimistic now. Yeah, microtransaction color customization. It would be bad enough if you just had to buy a microtransaction to unlock red paint, but no, you pay for the entire paint job. No longer do you get to mix and match colors. God has abandoned us. Perhaps the only way forward for this series is for Infinite to crash and burn so that the incompetence at the top of the studio loses the respect of Microsoft. So then, dandy discussion of the day. What do you think will be broken on Halo Infinite's launch? Post your thoughts in the comments below. I think enabling skulls will crash the game and brick your Xbox. This is Dandy telling you why 343 still isn't dandy. Have a very Merry Christmas and peace.